बिहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानन्दन भज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दं व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन भज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दं व्रज जनरञ्जन
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुनतीराचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुनतीराचारी
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन भज जनरञ्जना
यशोदानन्दनं व्रज जनरञ्जना
यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुनतीराचारी
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare
हरे
Hare.
कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gaurangi Bindurishwara Gaurangi Bindurishwara Gaurangi
Jai Gaurangi, Krishna Gaurangi, Krishna Gaurangi.
Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Ananta Dev
Jaya Ananda Jaya Ananda
Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya
Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Jaya Nitai Chaitanya
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya
Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणार विंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिगोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर भक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayana Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye.
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Hare Krishna devotees, welcome for Thursday morning Iskcon Seshadripuram's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today I have been asked to discuss the 4th canto, 4th chapter, 24th verse. So the chapter is entitled Sati quits her body. and the canto name is the creation of the fourth order. So now let's look at this verse. I will share the screen. Hare Krishna. मैत्रेय उवाच इति यद्वरे दक्षम् अनुद्य शत्रुहन् क्षिताव उदिचिं निषाद शान्तवाक् स्पृष्ट्वा जलं पीत दुकूलं संवृथा निमील्य दृग्योग पतं समाविशत्. Word by word meaning. Maitreya uvacha. Maitreya said, iti, thus, advare, in the arena of sacrifice, daksham, to Daksha, anudhya, speaking, Shatruhan, O annihilator of enemies, Kshitav, on the ground, Udichim, facing north, Nisada, sat down, Shantavak, in silence, Sprashtva, after touching, Jalam, water, Pita Dukulam Sambrata, dressed in Pita Dukula Sambrata, dressed in yellow garments, Nimilya, closing, Drik, the vision, Yoga Patam, the mystic yoga process, Samavisat, became absorbed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maitreya, the sage, told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to absorb herself in the process of mystic yoga. Purport. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. Therefore, it appears that Sati changed her dress, indicating that she was going to quit the body given her by Daksha. Daksha was Sati's father. So, instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it would be better to destroy the part of his body which was hers. Thus, she decided to give up the body of Daksha by the yogic process. Sati was the wife of Lord Shiva, who is known as Yogeshwara, the best among all yogis. Because he knows all the mystic processes of yoga, so it appeared that Sati also knew them. Either she learnt yoga from her husband, or she was enlightened because she was the daughter of such a great king as Daksha. The perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. Yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. Generally, the yogi first of all becomes mature in controlling the air passing within the body, thus bringing the soul to the top of the brain. Then, when the body bursts into flames, the yogi can go anywhere he likes. This yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process for controlling the cells of the body, which has been discovered in the modern age. The real yoga process accepts the transmigration of the soul from one planet to another or from one body to another. And it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body or sphere. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु भयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे। Okay, so this verse is in the chapter called Sati quits her body. So the entire chapter deals with this pastime of Lord Shiva, Mother Sati, uh, with the envious Daksha. So this is the chapter, and here the little background. We have been discussing this. I'm sure all speakers will be giving a background. I remember I gave the background as well when I gave the last class. But anyway, to get a holistic view, I'll just give a very quick background. So, Lord Shiva and Daksha, or rather Daksha developed enmity with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is actually very neutral. He is not having, he does not celebrate enmity or friendship or anything. He is neutral. Like in that last week verse I was saying, Lord Shiva is actually having the qualities of Lord Krishna, because Krishna, Prabhupada quotes there that Krishna is neutral to everything, Samadarshanaha, and he is also does not have any enmity or any, specific partiality to anyone. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada quotes that, and he says Lord Shiva is actually having those qualities of Lord Krishna. And actually, Lord Shiva is Gunavatar of Lord Krishna. He is Gunavatar. So he is imbibed the qualities of Lord Krishna, of mercy, of neutrality, all of these qualities in abundance. So Lord Shiva is a great personality. But Daksha had developed enmity with Lord Shiva, because of which he was very envious of him, or because he was envious, he developed enmity. That also I explained the other day. Because we developed envious, we become envious, and therefore we developed hatred or enmity with some other the other jivas. So because of this, he was disrespecting Lord Shiva, and he did not invite Lord Shiva for a very grand religious ceremony that he was conducting, a yajna, a sacrifice, where he had invited everybody on the entire universe, all the big demigods, Lord Brahma, everyone. He's invited everyone, but only Lord Shiva was not invited. Such a great insult to such a great Vaishnava, particularly if he is his son-in-law, right? When he is inviting every person there, but not the son-in-law of that family, that is a very, it's a very big insult. So, Sati, being the daughter of the family, like they always have this affection toward the family, she still feels, it's okay, I will still go. I don't need an invite for that, like that. But inside her also the fact that that my husband has been humiliated, I want to go there and seek justice for his for the humiliation of my husband. So she is going there for that purpose, and having gone there, she is not respected. Her father does not even recognize her presence there, and she gets very angry, and she makes very bold statements. She calls out the bluff in Daksha. She actually exposes his mind that he is very envious of Lord Shiva, and he's an offender to Lord Shiva. And after that, this particular shloka is coming where I will read the translation once again, where she says, Maitreya, the sage, told Vidura, "O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to observe herself in the process of mystic yoga." So now after all that, she just sits down, wears saffron clothes, sits down in that sacrificial arena, sanctifies herself with water, facing the direction of north, and she is now silently focusing on the mystic yoga. What is she going to do in such an arena where all these people are assembled, and she suddenly sits there in facing north, and she is sitting in a yogic posture? So you may want to know what is happening. That will come in the next shloka, but the topic itself is there. Sati quits her body. So she decides to quit her body. Through this yogic process, she wants to leave her body there and transmigrate it to another body. So there are some background to this. 2 or 3 points I would want to discuss. I have been listening to some Maharaj classes on this subject matter. So first is about, Sati. Sati means chaste. Sati means chaste. That is the meaning. So women are a married woman, or for that matter, any woman is supposed to be very chaste. So in this context here, chastity is to the husband. So she is a perfection of that qualification, chaste wife. Therefore, her name is Sati. So, and of course, men also have to be chaste. There is no thing, but specifically for women, because they glorify that quality much more, possibly. I don't know. Not that men are not supposed to be chaste, or they are also chaste. But women are specifically described as very chaste if they are chaste. And this is towards that husband. So naturally, she, being a chaste wife, cannot take the insult to her husband. So that is the reason why she has come here, to the extent that she was even ready to leave her body. That is one aspect of it. On this chastity, there is such a very powerful it is by itself a specific yoga, this chastity. There is one good example to show this one incident. So there was one Muni who was actually meditating in the forest, and because of his severe austerity, he got so much of powers. So when he was, continuing his, the tapasya, I think there were some sparrows, some 12 sparrows or 13 sparrows like that. So these sparrows were making a lot of noise and, hangama in that place. We see birds suddenly start chirping so hard, jumping from place to place, tripping harder and harder, louder and louder and all that. Generally, we feel, oh, that is so nice in the nature. We are only hearing the city sounds of all this music and all that, the blaring thing. But when you go and hear all these birds and, the rustling of the trees, the wind blowing, we feel very nice. But somehow this Muni, maybe because he was in the forest, for him that became his normal life and he didn't like that sound. So he immediately cursed all those sparrows, you all die immediately. all the sparrows died immediately. So he was very puffed up. Oh, see how much powerful I am. My curse, I killed all these sparrows like this. So because of his yogic power. So then he goes out later to, naturally if you are a Muni and you are this one ascetic, then you just go begging for alms for your, the prasada, right? You need to take food. So all the sannyasis, this is the order. In the sannyasis, they don't have to earn money or whatever. They just go and beg from the grahasthas, and the grahasthas very respectfully come and offer them prasadam, and they simply eat whatever they give prasadam, and then they continue with their self-realization sadhana. So this is the life of a yogi. So now in this case, he goes into one family. He goes to the house of one grahastha, and his wife was there, and he was there, and he goes, "Oh mother, please give me, some alms," like that. At that time, this husband in that house, he was having prasadam or something. He was doing something, and the wife was assisting him. And this Muni was very, was waiting, and he's, getting upset. Hey, I'm such a big yogi. I have come here and I'm waiting for you. And how long for you to take to just come and give me this alms and go? But you are more engaged with, with serving your husband. And then that lady just like casually said, "Oh, Muni, don't think I am like the sparrows." So, so she was a very chaste lady, and therefore she was more powerful than this Muni. So then the Muni immediately realized, oh, how did she know that I, killed the sparrows with my yogic powers? But she is, because of her chastity, she is much more powerful than this Muni. So this example to show the power of chastity. There are many other Puranic evidence like this. I think there is one Satyavan Savitri. There is one lady. I've heard this. I don't know which scripture or where it is. There was one king who, because of whatever thing, he became so poor, and finally he became, like something to the extent that he was surviving. What do you call? By in the graveyard, burning the bodies. That way he was surviving. So like that he was surviving, and somehow he also died. But his wife was so chaste that she actually, with her chastity, she actually made the demigods come and give the husband back, bring the husband back to life. So this is the power of chastity, and Mother Sati is an example of that. So why she was wanting to quit her body is also there in some different leelas. There was one instance when Lord Rama was there. When Lord Rama was there in the forest, and I think at the time when Mother Sita had been abducted by Ravana. So at that time, Lord Shiva, Lord Rama was in very much distress, and he was crying and all that. At that time, Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati are coming there. And Lord Shiva pays obeisances to Lord Rama. And Sati is actually little worried, means she's very surprised. What is this? And then she asks to Lord Shiva, this is very, he's a prince, son of a great king. But why will you, Lord Shiva, go and pay obeisances unto him? Then Lord Shiva will say, don't talk like this. He's the supreme personality of Godhead, my master. But somehow she's not convinced. Somehow, sometimes, these things, these pastimes happen for a reason. And she's not convinced. And so she tries to test for herself to find out whether it is really Lord Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead. So she actually takes the form of Mother Sita and she goes there to Lord Rama. And when Lord Rama sees her, I think he pays obeisances and says, "Oh Parvati, why have you come here like this? Where is Lord Shiva?" Like that. Then she is ashamed that if Parvati takes a changes her form, nobody can actually find out, right? She is herself is Lord Shiva's wife, is not an ordinary person like that. And but Lord Rama, just on seeing her, he immediately recognizes and then also asks her, "Why are you coming like this alone? Where is Lord Shiva?" So she becomes very ashamed. And then later she goes, and when she is with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, she asks her, "What did you do?" Then she says, "I went and, went like this and took the form of Mother Sita." Lord Shiva was very upset. He says, "What? You took the form of Mother Sita, right? This is unacceptable. You have taken the form of my Mother Sita, and how I can now look at you even as my wife? Sorry, this is not on." And therefore, she is now that, that feeling that, she is actually offended Lord Rama. She is offended Lord Shiva also. And to the extent that he is feeling that, how can you have taken the form of my mother, and how can I even look at you as my wife? And therefore, this was in her mind that this body is now not fit to be Lord Shiva's wife. And this is also in her mind. So these are all reasons, why she decides to quit her body. So, and another reason is also there. Lord Shiva used to call Sati or Parvati. Sometimes in a mood, he will call her Dakshayini. We all know, right? Parvati is also called Dakshayini. Dakshayini means what? Her father's name is Daksha. Therefore, she is called Dakshayini. Just like, when we chant Prabhupada Pranam Mantra, what do we say? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi. What is the meaning of Saraswate? Saraswate, it is not Saraswati Devi, it is Saraswate. Saraswate means son of Saraswati. That means Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, or disciple of thing. So when you are calling someone they're like the offspring or disciple, we say Saraswati means Saraswate. Here Daksha means Dakshayini. Daksha, Dakshayini, like that. So he calls her Dakshayini to indicate her background, like, where is she coming from Daksha. So now this Daksha has offended her husband. Being a chaste wife, she feels very bad that she represents this offender. This body is being given by this offender to that great personality called Lord Shiva. So particularly her own husband, and she feels, how I am representing that offender with this body. This body is given by that offender. How can I actually be comfortable in this body? It is very shameful that I am in this body who is a big offender of my Lord Shiva, and I don't want to be in this body. I want to give up this body. Here also Prabhupada writes, she feels like killing her father. Doesn't say she feels like killing, but instead of killing him, she kills herself, which is also a part of Daksha's body. That is how Prabhupada is writing. Very refined Prabhupada. So he's writing like that. So symbolically killing Daksha, right? That means this body belongs to Daksha in one form and one form. Even right now it belongs to Lord Shiva, but in biologically it belongs to him. And therefore, let me quit this body. I want to give up this body. This is her mood. So therefore, she is sitting in this posture that, to leave her body. And Lord Shiva's position, again, we need to, I just wanted to highlight, I highlighted this last time also, that, Lord Shiva is a special, what do you call, category by itself. So just like we called Vishnu Tattva, just like we call Jiva Tattva, Lord Shiva is a separate category itself, we call Shiva Tattva. So it's separate. It's neither Jiva, neither Vishnu. So it's in between something like that. And very, very, only maybe Lord Shiva is in that category, nobody else is. That is the position of Lord Shiva. I already mentioned he is Gunavatar. And one pastime of Srila Prabhupada also, I was listening to Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj, one of his classes. So he was saying, even sometimes, we really don't appreciate Lord Shiva, particularly in, sometimes when preachers are very, they really do not understand the real position of Shiva, and sometimes people disrespect Lord Shiva. This is there. So there is this one instance of his personal life and his interaction with Srila Prabhupada, which he describes there, and he's making an appeal, you please don't disrespect Lord Shiva. Particularly, he is using the word many preachers. Sometimes, many people think Lord Shiva is not, where because like that. So that's one example where even he was young, before he became a sannyasi. He in his class is saying, I think I was initiated at that time. So very young he was at that point in time. And he, along with one of his another devotee friend, who he clearly remembers was not initiated at that time. So both of them are there, and Maharaj actually wanted to. There was one temple in Delhi, one Lord Shiva's temple, but he's not. I'm not able to remember which one he mentioned. Some where there is the what do you call where legend has it that it's celestial or a transcendental snake visits the temple, and and like that. Visits means it's in that shrine along with Lord Shiva, like that. So he was very curious. Oh, I wanted to go and take darshan of that deity. Plus, of course, that snake, whatever, if it is there, if it's a celestial snake, the legend says like that. So I want to go and see. So both of these devotees, Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj, when he was young, and his friend both go. And when he goes there, Mahanidhi Swami Maharaj, he pays obeisances to Lord Shiva. And his friend, who's not even at that point in time initiated, he does not pay obeisances to Lord Shiva. He's just standing there. And they go, of course, he says, I did not see any snake there. Somehow, anyway, we came back after that. When we came out, my friend was very upset with me. And he said, why are you upset? How can you pay obeisances to Lord Shiva? Prabhupada is very strongly writing against, Prabhupada is strongly saying that only Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Krishna is only to be worshipped and nobody else. So why did you pay obeisances like that? So this Maharaj said, what is wrong? I paid obeisances, to a great personality. What is wrong like that? I asked him. But anyway, this was eating my mind. Maharaj says, it was eating my mind. Therefore, I wanted to go and check with Prabhupada himself. At the time Prabhupada was there, he was his disciple. And so, he said, Prabhupada is very accessible. So I went, and when I spoke to Prabhupada, said I went to this Lord Shiva's temple along with so-and-so devotee. And I paid obeisances there, and this devotee felt offended that, how can you pay obeisances to Lord Shiva? And is it wrong? He said, then he asked Prabhupada, is it wrong that I paid obeisances? Prabhupada said, you are supposed to pay obeisances even to an ant. What about paying obeisances to Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavanam Yathasambhu? That means he is the highest Vaishnava. And how is it that you will not pay obeisances to Lord Shiva? This is Prabhupada's words. So this, when he said like this, and then he said, no, that Prabhu was saying, you have returned, or you are saying that we should not respect Lord Shiva. Prabhupada got very angry. Show me references where I have written, where I am saying Lord Shiva should not be respected. Like that, he made he shouted like that. So the Maharaj was making a respect. Don't disrespect Lord Shiva like that. So that is the position of Lord Shiva. And Sati, particularly being her husband, does not want to be in the body which was given by an offender of Lord Shiva, which reminds her of that offense all the time when she is called Dakshayini. So she decides, okay, I will quit this body. So this is the little kind of a background of, why she quits her body, and, what is the reason behind that. And it is also mentioned the perfection of yoga is that one can give up one's body or release oneself from the embodiment of material elements according to one's desire. And he says, yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Such perfect yogis can leave the body whenever they desire. So this is perfection of yoga. So that means the yoga, by the yogic process, one can actually clearly distinguish or realize that he has two parts. One is the soul and one is the body, and the soul is superior to the body, and soul is completely independent of the body. These are all many things that we can derive from the statements. And they are able to keep both separate. Like there are examples of even modern day yogis who, without undergoing what do you call chloroform, that anesthesia, without undergoing anesthesia, can have an operation done in their body. That means they are such yogis that they can keep the soul out of the body when the operation is happening to the body, so that repair is happening, and not to feel the pain. Without any anesthesia, the person is able to keep the soul away from the body so that it does not feel the pain. And then he is able to come back into the body once the operation is done. The amazing, right? Such abilities. There is one typical example of Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara. These are all examples to show a yogi can leave the body whenever he desires. There was a time when when Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara, he was trying to establish the scriptures, all the Vedas and all that. Because Buddhist time, Lord Buddha neutralized all the Vedas and all the scriptures, and he said, the scriptures are all not wanted, because there's a reason that, because of the scriptures, or rather not because of the scripture, but misusing the scriptures, the Brahmanas were actually exploiting the common man. They were eating the sacrificial animals. So that means here is eating non-veg. In the name of scriptures, in the name of sacrifice, the Brahmanas were, this is prasada, those kind of things. So it was so bad, so heavily contaminated, and therefore Lord Buddha came and said, okay, on the strength of these Vedas, you people are actually abusing and you are misguiding the people. So let me remove the scriptures from the memory of people. So he started his non-violence movement, or whatever, ahimsa, whatever he did, his philosophy. Later, Adi Shankara is none other than incarnation of Lord Shiva. Lord Krishna, he told his very highly elevated devotee, Lord Shiva, you go and now bring back the scriptures. So Adi Shankara, who's an Amsha of Lord Shiva, he comes and he establishes the scriptures. So he was having these great debates with so many of these, that means a lot of these Buddhists and, those who do not accept the scriptures. So he had many, many debates, and he was beating all of these people and establishing the scriptures. And in those days, the debates means what? After the debate, whoever is the loser will have to surrender to the winner, become his disciple, and follow his instruction and follow his mission. So Adi Shankara's mission is to bring back the scriptures and propagate the scriptures. So those Buddhists, whoever gets defeated, will become the disciple of Shankaracharya, and they will start propagating the culture of Vedic culture. So this was the philosophy, and therefore there was one great king like that, and they had a argument. So this debate. So the debate was going on, raging. I think it went for 7 days or many days. And finally, Adi Shankara put a question which this king could not answer. So then he also had a chaste wife. So the chastity also related to the subject matter what we are discussing. So she cannot bear her husband actually getting, defeated. So she says, I will now argue on behalf of my husband. I will participate in this debate. You answer my one question, then we will accept defeat if you are able to answer my question. So, she is very clever also. She knows Adi Shankara is from childhood, he is a saint. That means he is a sannyasi. He is a brahmachari and a saint. So, Kanish, what do you call Naishtika brahmachari? Of course, he is a sannyasi. So, he does not know about family life. He does not know about women. He does not know how the mind works and all that. So, she asks him a question regarding Grahastha ashrama, that means intimate relationship between husband and wife, something in that thing. How not the physical intimacy, it's about some. So Shankaracharya was little bold, in cricket terms. So he was not able to immediately answer that question. So he asks for time. Give me some time. I will answer this. He says, give me 3 days or 5 days, whatever he asks. So she says, okay, I will give you the time. You go and find out. You come back and give me the answer. So he goes and he's thinking, and he's in his yogic power, he's searching somewhere there is a man about to die, or in that kind of a state, or just passed away, someone like that, who's a grahastha. And he's just waiting for a moment when someone like that happens. And he tells his disciples, I'm going to leave this body. You please preserve this body. I will come back in some time. So he is in his yogic posture. And when he's realizing one person is just about to die, who's a grahastha, he immediately leaves the body and gets into that body. And he gets up from that body, and then, that wife immediately becomes happy. There is that exchange of, that thing. And that small few fraction of experience of being in the body of a grahastha, having that mental connection with that lady, the wife who's distressed because the husband has died, and then she comes back, and then whatever emotional thing, and then he again quits that body quickly. Within a few seconds he quits that body. So the body gets up, experiences this, and then the body again dies, and he leaves and goes back to his body, the Adi Shankara body. Then he comes back for this debate, and he answers that question, and then that king was defeated. So the power of yogic personalities, they can actually quit their body for different reasons. And Prabhupada, last point that we will discuss it, Prabhupada writes that, the idea of yoga is actually to reach perfection and understand that I am soul and I am not this body. And the idea of this yoga is actually to liberate the soul from these clutches of this material existence. But he is also condemning to so-called Maya, the yoga today, which is basically trying to control the cells. In sense, what we are saying, by doing yoga, I can cure my health. That means I'm controlling my cells, that, the cells have become diseased now. Because of the yogic power, I will rejuvenate my cells, and then the disease can be cured and I will become strong. These kind of things, the yoga is used for focusing the brain, again, controlling the cells, that because of which I become very productive. In corporate world, you see today, there is a lot of this yogas happening. Why? The corporate bosses, their intent is that, my workforce become very productive. So by doing yoga, they all become very mentally strong and productive, and they are able to bring more profits like this. So this is all more materialistic. But real yoga is to actually understand the soul and help the soul take darshan of the Paramatma, and also be in the service of the Paramatma. This is the thing of yoga. And one who has actually perfected this yoga in that manner is actually can actually quit the body, leave to any other place or any other situation, whatever all this. But ultimately, the idea is to leave the body to go back to Godhead. That means after your connection with Paramatma, the real yoga, then he is actually in a position to, to go back to Godhead. So he quits the body. We see that in many of our Bhagavatam also. Parikshit Maharaj himself, after all hearing all Bhagavatam, he quits his body in that yogic posture. He leaves that body. Of course, the snake bites, but he can actually counteract it. but he lives. Similarly, even what is his name? Dhritarashtra, I mean, of course, he did not go back to Godhead, but he got a liberation, which is slightly different from that going back to Godhead. It's not slightly big difference between these two are there, but still he was also having that yogic power that he sat himself, and then by that yoga process he burnt. Here Prabhupada is writing, right, that in that yoga process, the soul which is situated in the heart, they are able to raise it to the head. And at the time of the body bursts into flames in that yogic power, we see people combusting from internally. That is also that we have seen many times. The body suddenly burns. Even in modern science, we have seen suddenly, normally a person, just like we have seen EVs suddenly burning, right? EVs means these electric cars and scooters suddenly burning. Like this, sometimes I have seen in modern world that somebody actually combusted from inside. Suddenly the person caught fire from not from externally, from within, and the person died. Like that they put. But here this yogic processes, they bring the soul to the head, and then when they burn their body like that, the soul immediately jumps out of the body and then leaves to the whatever, wherever it goes in this case, or it can go to the spiritual world if they are actually devotee, one who's practicing yoga in the real sense, understand the science of Krishna consciousness, they may. So there, what is his name? This Dhritarashtra, he left his body like that. So did his wife Gandhari. She also left her body in that yogic posture. She left her body after her husband left the body. Like that, I think. No, she also went and said something like this is there. So, but these all great personalities have all very well qualified in this yogic process. But mainly, this yogic process is to be used for self-realization. That is very clear as Vaishnavas, and Prabhupada writes again and again very clearly. See, Prabhupada writes, this yoga system recognizes the soul, and thus it is distinct from the so-called yoga process of controlling the cells of the body. So this recognition of the souls is self-realization. That is important. So, and we should use it for this purpose. And Bhanu Maharaj class I was hearing somewhere, and he was saying, this yoga system, a modern way, it will not work. It is not what it is. We should use this yoga system for self-realization. So that is important, because sometimes we get carried away by so many other types of things, and we try, sometimes devotees also try out all these things, but one need to be careful that we don't fall into a trap. So I end here. If there are any questions, any comments, we can take. Hare Krishna. Okay, so if there are no specific...
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. You have touched a lot of
Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity. So we will meet again whenever I have another. Whenever I have been asked to take a class. Thank you all very much. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, dear devotees. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Prabhu? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, tomorrow's Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. Sure.
Hare Krishna.